Mayor Weber, Madam Clerk, you are live.
You guys ready? You guys set to go? All right. This is calling to order a special meeting of the governing body, July 19th at 3:03 p.m. We'll begin with a Pledge of Allegiance by Councilor Faulkner, salute to the New Mexico flag from Councilor Cassett, and an invocation again from Councilor Romero-Worth. Please rise.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just ask that we all bow our heads and take a moment to reflect on the service that we are elected to provide, and that we think about those roles of serving our community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Counselor. Is there anyone we need to call to mind at this time? People we're particularly concerned about, people we've lost, people we have in our thoughts and prayers? Let's just have a general moment of silence for people who are in our community who are struggling to make ends meet, struggling with health issues, family issues, work issues, people who are hard pressed and need our help and our support. We are going to do our best to reach out to them first with our thoughts today and then with our actions in the future. Thanks, everybody. Please be seated. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Cassett?
Here.
Councilor Castro?
Presente.
Councilor Faulkner?
Here.
Councilor Michael Garcia?
Present.
Councilor Lindell? Councilor Romero-Worth?
Here.
Mayor Weber?
Yes,
Mayor,
present.
you have a quorum.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any changes to the agenda, Madam Clerk?
No, Mayor.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion to approve the agenda. There's a second. Is there discussion? Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Cassett?
Yes.
Councilor Castro?
Yes.
Councilor Faulkner?
Yes.
Councilor Michael Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Lindell? Councilor Romero-Worth?
Yes.
Mayor Weber?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And take us please to the first item on our agenda.
The first item, Mayor, is item 7A. This is under discussion and action items. It's a request for approval of amendment number 6 to collective bargaining agreement item 17-0973 with local 3999 City of Santa Fe employees of the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees Council 18 AFL-CIO that includes a 3% salary increase, the adoption of a new pay plan, and salary increases based on 25% of the hybrid parity as recommended by Evergreen Solutions LLC for all AFSCME bargaining unit employees. And we have the Human Resources Director Bernadette Salazar here for questions.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and there's a second. Director Salazar, do you want to provide for people who are watching or listening and may not be familiar with what this actually provides to make sure there's no confusion about what we are voting on?
Mr. Mayor, councilors, thank you for this opportunity. Yes, this amendment number 6 would implement salary increases for AFSCME bargaining unit employees. This would include any salary increases to bring employees to the new minimum of the new pay ranges as recommended by the compensation consultant back in February of 2024 when the pay plan was implemented. It would include the 25% hybrid parity salary increases, which gives AFSCME bargaining unit employees a salary increase based on their city seniority and their classification seniority. And then finally, it would be a 3% salary increase across the board to AFSCME bargaining unit employees on top of those two other salary increases. We were notified that from AFSCME leadership, specifically Louis DeMella last Friday, that the bargaining unit approved our proposal to implement this. And so I'm really thankful for you all to convene this meeting today to get it done and not miss a pay period in between. And so by doing this meeting today in such short notice would allow AFSCME bargaining unit employees to receive their pay increases effective tomorrow, which is the beginning of the next pay period, and which will be reflected on the paycheck of August 9th. So thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. Counselor Mayorworth?
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Director Salazar, for that overview. And I just want to say, I'm very happy to see us at this moment. The Finance Committee did recommend approval of the 3% salary increase and adoption of the new pay plan. And the increase is based on 25% of hybrid parity. I think the governing body followed suit in approving both of those things. And we have been waiting for the union to ratify those changes so that we could be at this moment to actually do the last step and get these raises out. I think they're very important. And I'm very happy to be at this moment. As most people know, we did approve the budget with these increases, I believe, the end of May, and they and the hybrid parity, I think, was done slightly earlier, if I'm remembering, Director Salazar, in April, I think. Is that right?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Romero Worth, it was adopted in February for
February.
implementation in March.
Okay. All right. So, again, it feels like it's been a long time coming. Really happy that we're at this moment and that folks will be getting their raises tomorrow, because I think we have prioritized them for a long time, and I'm just really happy to see that we're getting them implemented. So thank you for all your work in getting to this moment as well. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Other comments at the Counselor Lindell? I see your hand.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to walk through this a little bit so that I have a little clearer understanding. Has membership only had one vote on this amendment?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Lindell, to my knowledge, yes, there's only been one vote on this.
So I remember us working on this back in, help me out here, February or March.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Lindell, yes, it was, the pay plan was in front of the governing body in February for an implementation date of March of 2024.
Okay. So it never went to membership until last week, correct?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Lindell, that is my understanding, yes.
Okay, so do we have the amendment that was passed by membership? I have no idea, because I'm not involved in it, how many meetings happened between the union, and I'm not even sure who's on our negotiating team. I know that you and Mr. Blair are. I don't know if there's other people on it or not.
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Lindell, we had several meetings, at least 3 meetings back in February when we were recommending the adoption of the pay plan. And then we've met several times after that at the beginning of the fiscal year 2025 budget process, which then also included the 3% salary increases. So we've had several meetings, I would say at least 12 meetings between February and June.
Okay, thank you. I'm trying to just get this figured out, so be patient with me. Do we have? Do we have significant differences in this amendment than the amendment that we looked at in February, March?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Lindell, the only difference with this amendment essentially is that we've included the 3% salary increases since the governing body had already approved that budget allocation. So we wanted to ensure that AFSCME, the proposal being put forward was giving AFSCME employees everything that the governing body had allocated for this bargaining unit.
Point of inquiry. Are,
Pardon me?
point of inquiry. Are,
Point of inquiry.
are we able, or do we have representatives from the union that we can ask questions to directly? We cannot.
Public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
Well, so we've gone March, April, May, June, essentially July, 5 months. And now that the membership has voted on it, they voted yes, and we're ready to move forward. It still doesn't, you know, the discouragement of this for me is that we have members that weren't able to vote on this previously, and that aside from everything that's in this amendment, the holdback, the slowdown, the tardiness of this, the late date of it, still means that membership will going to get a raise and what was agreed upon, but they're never going to get their PERA contributions back, correct?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Lindell, yes, you're correct.
I don't know that it was worth 5 months to take a loss when we had the same amendment 5 months ago. It's discouraging to me. Makes me sad. I'm glad that it's finally done, but I don't really feel like it happened as well as it could have. And I do thank you and Mr. Blair both. I know that it got pretty contentious at times and ugly, and that was uncalled for. But here we are today, and we get to vote on this and move forward. I hope it never happens like this again. Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor.
Yeah.
Uh,
Councilor Merrill.
Yeah, and I just want to be clear that, again, the Finance Committee and the governing body approved both of these things. So that the holdup is not the governing body's issue.
Yes, G. I mean, Madam Clerk.
Mayor, Councilor Garcia has his hand raised.
Okay. Councilor Garcia, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Bernadette, quick question for you. Does this amendment include any retroactive pay?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor Michael Garcia, no, it does not include retroactive pay, as that would be illegal and a violation of the current collective bargaining agreement.
Okay. And so for not only for the class and comp to have been implemented, but the 3%, this amendment would have had to come before us some time ago. Am I understanding? And the reason why it's coming forward in an amendment is we do not have a contract in place with the AFSCME union.
Mr. Mayor, Counselor Garcia, I don't understand your question. Can you repeat your question?
Sure. And so I guess my question is, the reason why we're bringing forward this amendment today is because it's required for the adoption of the union membership to agree to the raises. Am I understanding that correctly?
Mr. Mayor, Counselor Michael Garcia, yes, we cannot bring forward a request for approval of of amendment until the AFSCME bargaining unit lets us know that they've ratified a proposal that's been given to them.
Okay.
And we were provided that notification 1 week ago today, last Friday.
Okay. And this does not impact current negotiations for long-term contract with the union, or does it?
Mr. Mayor, Counselor Michael Garcia, no, it does not.
Those are still ongoing negotiations, if I'm understanding the process correctly.
The process that we're currently in will continue, yes.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. I definitely understand the challenges where AFSCME union employees did not have the opportunity to receive these increases in wages. I deeply feel for those employees, especially in a time like now where inflation and costs are deeply impacting folks' pocketbook. Costs across the board are higher than heck right now. And having these increased wages would definitely have benefited them if it were implemented weeks, if not months ago. I'm glad it's being implemented with this upcoming paycheck. I would just encourage us to work collaboratively with the union as we move forward with any potential increases in the future, because at the end of the day, union members are what helps to drive our city services forward. And without those members and those employees, we can be really in a tough space if they are not providing their critically needed services to the city. So I appreciate Director Salazar and City Manager Blair for their negotiations, but I really want us to think with the lens that our city employees are what drives our city forward. And we need to do everything, we as a city government need to do everything we can to ensure that they're compensated fairly, they're compensated equitably, and they are treated in a manner where they are excited to come to work every day. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Counselor. Other comments at this time? Counselor Mayor Worth?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you again, Director Salazar and City Manager Blair, for your work on this. I completely agree that our union employees are vital to the city's operations, our ability to provide services to the community. And that's why I am happy that we're in this moment today to approve the amendment to the collective bargaining contract, which is also under negotiation. And again, I just want to be clear that the governing body's role in this, we don't have a role in this other than to ratify these changes today and to approve the raises for consideration by the union, which we did timely in February. And then again, the 3% increase in May when we adopted the budget. So again, I'm happy that the union allowed a vote, that the union membership agreed to implement these salary increases. The rest of city government, those non-union employees, the fire and police unions all have adopted these same increases, these same opportunities. And so now today with this, all employees will be at the same level in terms of what we've done in the last few months to make sure that all our employees are paid well and with the class and comp study paid in a way that makes us competitive in the market. And so I really appreciate the prioritization of implementing the beginning of the class and comp study, because we do know from that study that that we need to increase salaries. And I think that's been a priority for the governing body. It was a priority in our budget this year. And so again, I'm very happy to see that we're at this moment, and that all employees in the city, whether they're union, AFSCME union, city employee, AFSCME employees, police, fire, or non-union, all will be treated with these new increases. So again, thank you for the work, and I appreciate this moment. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Other comments on the item in front of us at this time? I want to just say a couple words. First, the reason we're having a special meeting rather than simply taking this up in the regular order of our council calendar is because we take this very seriously. There's nothing more important in my administration than the people who work for the city. If you go back and take a look at the message I put in our budget that we adopted for this new fiscal year, it starts and ends with the way we treat our employees. They are the heart and soul of how the city operates. The people who work for the city are the people who work for the people of Santa Fe, and they make the city work. And we take absolutely seriously their financial needs, their healthcare needs, their well-being, as well as providing the tools, the equipment, the work conditions, the respect, and the dignity that they are not only entitled to, but from the get-go should expect. And so a special meeting is a reflection of this team's commitment to acting as rapidly as possible to make sure that the AFSCME members are given the same financial boost that all the other workers have already received. We wouldn't be here if we took it anything less than an urgent matter that deserves a special meeting. These increases are in the budget as proposed and adopted, and it is gratifying to see them going to the people who deserve them and need them. We will continue in my time as mayor to do what we've done for the last 6 years, which is to consistently and continuously find ways to reward our workforce, whether it's with retention incentives or class and comp not only being done as a study, but implemented as a part of the city's financial package. We will continue to look seriously at ways to improve the health benefits of everyone at a time when health costs are soaring around the country. We can proudly say that we have the best package of any governmental agency, I would say, in the entire state of New Mexico. It's a first-class package, and we believe it is what our workers need and deserve and are worthy to receive. It's not inexpensive, and we take on a big chunk of that expense, but it's important. Health is fundamental to everybody's way of life and their ability to not only do their jobs, but have healthy families and be members of our community. We'll continue to look for ways to invest in equipment, tools, workplace safety, all the things that are critical to a first-class work environment. I said it in that letter, and I've said it consistently in my time as mayor. We want to be the employer of choice for everyone in New Mexico. We know there is a competition for talent going on, and we have a very talented workforce in the city of Santa Fe. We don't want to lose people. We want to attract more people. We want people to vote in favor not only of a contract, but in favor of working for the city of Santa Fe, because that's how we improve our delivery of services every single day. So I am pleased that with the approval of this amendment, the people who work for the city of Santa Fe as members of AFSCME will be able to get the pay increases that we voted for, and will continue to be recognized for their hard work and appreciated and given our gratitude for everything they do for the city. It's absolutely critical. Everything we do in the city starts with the people who work for the city. And frankly, I would say that the HR department is the heart and soul of our city's ability to deliver on those promises. And your hard work and your team's hard work to continue to see people first is embedded in this contract amendment, in the ongoing effort to get to a complete contract, but also in resolving all the work that you do and your team does to fill positions, to respond to concerns, to look after our people, and to make sure we're offering the best place to work in the entire state of New Mexico. Any other comments? Yes, Councilor Cassett.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. One thing that I did want to bring up and say that I really appreciated. I know that there had been some discrepancies that the union had found with class and comp. And so I did want to thank both parties for both the union's work and finding that, and HR's, coming to the table to really look at those, as we had discussed when with class and comp. It's really exciting that we're going to be implementing this, and that's extremely important that it is done accurately. So I know that there had, as was mentioned, there had been some challenges, but I do appreciate that collaboration between both groups. And really, as we have all said, it's important for our staff, to make sure that they are really getting the pay that is due to them with all the hard work that they do. They do not always get the credit, and sometimes they unfortunately, undeservedly, are criticized for reasons that have nothing to do with them, usually more to do with us. But I think that was really important and a good point of collaboration. So I wanted to thank both the union leadership who's here, as well as the HR team for doing that. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, to your point, Councilor Cassett, I appreciate that. And we were really happy that we came to an agreement on that topic if there were any errors early on back in February. So we were in agreement on that topic really early on. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Other comments? Madam Clerk, we have a motion and a second. Can you please call the roll?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. Councilor Castro?
Yes.
Councilor Faulkner?
Yes.
Councilor Michael Garcia?
Yes.
Councilor Lindell? Councilor Romero Worth?
Yes.
Councilor Cassett?
Yes.
Mayor Weber?
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Could you take us to the next item on the agenda, please?
Yes, Mayor. Next item is 7B. This is a request for approval of amendment number 1 to item 23-0578 with Intera Incorporated to increase the compensation by $150,000 for a new total amount of $299,489.01, and to extend the termination date to June 30, 2025, to provide regulatory groundwater monitoring, soil vapor monitoring, and other environmental and engineering services for 2 closed landfills. And we have the Environmental Services Division Interim Director, Deborah Trujillo, here for questioning.
Is there a motion?
To approve? Do we have this in our packets? Because it's not. I know, but it's not. Are you able to pull it up? All right, got it.
Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Could we get a brief explanation for everyone who's watching and listening about what this item is and why it is so time sensitive, please?
Mayor, members of the governing body, I apologize. I should have been there in person. I am Lawrence Garcia. I'm the one that's bringing this forward to you today. As Geraldine explained, this is a regulatory groundwater monitoring for our 2 closed landfills. This is something that was scheduled for the June 26th governing body meeting. I am not sure why it didn't get on that agenda, and I guess I would have to take the blame for that. But basically, we have a contractor that is providing these services in Terra Incorporated, and the regulators are requiring us to do quarterly reports of groundwater monitoring, vapor monitoring, and also they've requested additional types of processing of those collection samples, and they're looking to move forward to design another groundwater monitoring well, which is down gradient from the water flow through the Frank Ortiz Park. This is why it is so pressing that we get this amendment moved forward. We did have an RFP processing to see if we could get into a 4-year contract. This is actually an amendment to a contract where we are piggybacking off of an Albuquerque contract. This is just so that we can keep moving forward until we get a City of Santa Fe contract in place. And I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Great, thank you. Questions from the governing body? Yes, Councilor Castro.
Thank you so much. Director, just would you tell us a little more about piggybacking? Does that mean that we have a similar contract or we're being added to the contract for Albuquerque?
Yes, the procurement method allows for us to utilize other municipal government contracts. And with approval from the contractor and the owner of the contract, who is Albuquerque, they do allow us to utilize that contract. They have a contract in place with similar requirements for their Cerro Colorado landfill. And that is how we were able to utilize this.
Big thank you.
Thank you. Other questions? I can't see. Does Councilor Garcia have his hand up? Not at the moment. Anyone else here on the dais? No questions. Madam Clerk, there's a motion, there's a second. Could you please call the roll?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. Counselor Faulkner,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Counselor Cassett,
Yes.
Counselor Castro,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Any other items